all of this during this crazy year. Our vision is so much bigger than our building. We look forward desperately to the time when we can resume operations and see everybody in person. But until then, we have really been focused on what we can do to continue to have an impact on the families and children in our community without needing that physical space. So that means that we've done a lot of talking to people, we've done a lot of collaborating, we've been working with partners to understand what we can do to support engaging children during this time, specifically around STEM and arts. And so we've developed a wonderful set of programs under the moniker STEM with DCM and Arts and Maker programming, all of which is accessible through our website. We have lots of school groups signing up, so it's a great opportunity for teachers to kind of give control over their classroom to us, just like they would during a field trip. And the activities are all classic, hands-on, super engaging. The only thing that's virtual is the facilitation. And so it is very minds-on and practices the very best of those skills like critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. So that's kind of been our pandemic pivot. It is going well, but boy, it is we missed everyone. We miss everyone. We miss the energy and the creativity that comes from everybody gathering together. And so because of that, we're super happy to be able to host this little gathering here. And Brett's going to take it away and share with us a little bit more about the activities that we do by doing some of those activities. That's the best way to learn.
Yep, absolutely. It's the best way to learn is to do. And so we have three STEM being science, technology, engineering, and math. We have 3 STEM labs that we offer for both individuals and for schools and for organizations like DuPage pads and other community groups. One of them is bridge building. I led 30 second graders from Napier Elementary in bridge building today. The fun thing about bridge building and engineering is that you end up destroying your bridge. So here's the aftermath of my collapsed bridge. And it was a lot of fun because, the whole thing with museum education, and this is still museum education, even though we are in my spare bedroom. The whole thing about museum education is it's a safe place, right? There's no, we're not passing or failing the museum. We get to have fun learning and doing, and it's an okay space to fail. It's a great space to learn, and we can add in a lot of extras that, by the museum having the ability to offer these labs multiple times, and we really get to hone them in and make all the little adjustments for our audiences and incorporate all the things that we learn as we work with different audiences. So bridge building is one that's a lot of fun. We build bridges out of straw, out of paper straws, and learn about engineering and structures and testing and the engineering design cycle. We have a lab that's all about sound, and we learn the basics of sound, and at the end we make a little simple musical instrument that is the absolute delight of all parents whose kids participate in this lab. It's a little, it's like a kazoo kind of sounding thing. A little bit of sarcasm in my voice there. My 4-year-old loves sound sandwich. We play with it frequently, but it's a really great way to have something that we do. Hey, there's my regular audience. Hey guys. But what we're going to do today is actually make some paper airplanes. Now here's the cool thing about paper airplanes. Paper airplanes, physics behind a paper airplane are the same, more or less, as they are behind a jet airplane or a propeller airplane or a bird or a helicopter. Basically anything that stays in the air is still under the influence of the same basic forces, okay? So we have learned something that is absolutely great about facilitating in this model, and that is we have the entire world of the internet available to us to help us explain concepts. So I'm going to start this off with a little video that the folks at the Smithsonian put together. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to use this as an introduction to the physics of flight before we actually start experimenting ourselves by keeping some paper airplanes up in the sky. So here we go. All right, and I have to move this screen. So a quick thumbs up if everyone sees my wings and things PowerPoint. Great, thank you. And here is our little video from the Smithsonian.
I take it back. Actually, we're just seeing a screen share of your Zoom.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Let's try that again. Let's see. Oh, there's my Forces of Flight video. Okay. I did a thing where I don't know if anyone's done this on Zoom, where you can have it in like 2 different windows, and I have to set it back to normal because it confuses me to no end. So here we go. Here's our Forces of Flight.
Perfect.
How do things fly from the Smithsonian? Uh-oh. Well, that didn't work. What was his plane missing? We need wings. So our little pilot's going to build his plane again, add some wings, go for a flight. We have weight, we have lift. That plane slows down because of drag, falls out of the sky. So we're going to add our final thing here, a motor, some propellers. And right there we have it. So that's it. That's what flight is all about. It's about having, well, let's see. I'm going to, there we go. So what are the, we have these 4 basic things that make planes fly, right? Or helicopters or paper airplanes or birds. We have drag, we have lift, we have weight, and we have thrust. So I'll share that for a second. So let's think about this for a second. If we have a bird, and those of you that are joining this call in your pajamas, you're welcome to answer these questions as well. So if we have a bird or a plane flying in the sky, what are the things that will pull a plane or a bird down to the ground? What are the things that, what's the one thing that pulls things down to the ground? And I'll give you a hint right here. Here I have my little eraser. If I drop it, it crashes right down onto the computer. Yeah, just shout it out. We're not in school. You don't have to raise your hand.
Gravity.
What was that?
Gravity.
Gravity, yeah, absolutely. Gravity's always pulling us down, yep. And if you are flying, or if you're riding your bike really fast, or if you're driving your car and you stick your hand out the window there, and you feel air resistance, either on your face if you're riding your bike, or against your hand if you have your hand out the window, that's called drag, right? So air can push against things. It's really helpful if it's a parachute. It's kind of annoying if you're a plane or a bird, because that means you slow down and start to fall. Planes have propellers or jets that move us forward. Birds have wings that fly. When we make our paper airplane, all of our thrust or forward motion is going to come from us throwing it. And then the final thing, the most important thing here, is lift, that thing that makes a plane or a bird or a paper airplane special, and that is the ability to stay in the air. So I'm going to ask you kind of a weird question here, and anyone, adults too, can answer this. Do you have a favorite bird?
I like geese. Geese.
Yes.
Did I hear geese? I love geese. Geese are so cool. They fly really, really fast, right? What else? Who else can tell me about their favorite bird? Yeah, Margaret.
I love birds of prey, so either hawks or eagles.
Okay, so I'm going to ask everyone to be a little bit silly here, because here's the thing about museum education is it should be fun. So if you, everyone, and if I say plural you, were a eagle and your arms were your wings, how would you fly? Put your arms out. Yeah, I saw a bunch of cameras just get
Yeah,
shut.
like,
Yeah, absolutely. You're gliding, right? You're kind of, you get your, I
Why?
can't look at my camera, but your wings are really far out there. Yeah. What's someone else's favorite kind of bird?
Flamingo.
Ooh, I have no idea how a flamingo flies. Who said that? Who said flamingo? Was that you, Kim?
I did, but I don't know how they fly, but they
I don't
stand
know either.
very
All I know is
pretty.
they stand on one foot and they eat a lot of shrimp, so they turn pink. But I'll have to find out. See, you learn something by teaching too. I'll have to learn about how flamingos fly. I love finches. I love little purple finches, little golden finches, and the way that they fly around the bird feeder. I think they're just so absolutely pretty. So here's the thing. All different kinds of birds fly in different ways, right? Oh yeah, we'll do we'll do the Finch experiment. Pretend
like a
your
hummingbird?
arms are finch wings, and how are your finch wings going to flap? Are they going? Yeah, they're going to kind of keep on going, right? They're always moving. They're always moving. Eagles soar. Geese and ducks have these big, powerful wings that they use. So we're going to get to the paper airplane making part, but what would happen if we were doing this for a group of second graders, and Jennifer, I can send you these videos if you want to see them. We would look at slow motion videos of different bird wings. And so we could see in like really cool slow motion exactly how sparrows and finches are hopping around that bird feeder. Watch ducks take off from the water in slow motion and see how their wings work. And then also I have an eagle video as well, and it shows how eagles just soar on those thermals and just go over the, just can go for a long time without flapping. The whole point being the way that a wing is designed tells us how the bird flies, right? And the same thing is true with airplanes, and the same thing is true with paper airplanes. So we're going to make two different paper airplanes. And the cool thing about this is we're going to use the same set of folds for both planes. We're just going to change the way that the paper is pointing so that they end up looking different. So what you're going to need are two pieces of paper, okay? I have colorful paper because it's easier later on for me to talk about the yellow plane and I can't tell if this is pink or orange, but we'll call it pink, and the pink plane. But you don't have to have colored paper. You can have just regular paper. And I took a video of me making the folds for this paper airplane so that you can see them, so you can watch step by step. So the first plane that we're going to make, you're going to have your paper oriented like this, like it is in portrait mode. And then we're going to make the same set of folds for the second airplane, but we're going to start with our paper like this. So first one is going to be here, and we'll make these two paper airplanes, and then we'll fly them. We'll do an experiment. We'll take some observations. We'll be scientists, and we'll see what we find out. So let me just skip forward a couple of pages in my presentation here and get to the paper. Okay, here we go. So share my screen with the sound. Okay, can everyone see my hands with some blue paper? Okay, great. So here is how to make the paper airplanes we're going to experiment with.
We're going to make two paper airplanes using the same pattern of folds. We're just going to orient the paper in different directions for each one. So I'll start with paper in portrait mode. So what we're going to do to start is fold the paper in half, line up the two long edges, make sure the corners are lined up, and put a fold and run your finger over to make it nice and neat. And then we're going to unfold the paper and fold the top edge down to that middle fold. And make a nice edge there. Do the same thing on the other side. So we have the two corners folded down to the middle, and then
Oops, I did not mean to go to the next video. I meant to pause. Okay. So we're going to pause there for a second. If this is a small group, so if anyone has a question or doesn't quite see the instructions, just let me know. But for now, you should have your paper with the two corners folded down. Yep, thank you. And I can still see all of you, so feel free to show me your paper airplane at any point. We'll continue on here.
What you doing?
I did not mean to start at the beginning. Why is this doing this?
Zena, come here.
How do birds fly?
Sorry. Technical difficulties.
and fold the top edge.
What in the world? I apologize. Okay, there we are.
So we have the two corners folded down to the middle, and then we're going to take this diagonal edge and fold it down to the middle as well. And make that fold nice and neat by running your finger over it. And do the same thing on the other side. Just line that edge to the middle. Try to get the tip to come to a point and crease that edge down. So now we are going to take our plane. We're going to actually fold it in half on the original fold, just like that. And now we're going to fold this top edge down to the bottom. So we'll line that bottom edge up, and then we'll turn the plane over, and we'll do the same fold. Fold the edge down so it lines up with the bottom, and try to have a nice, neat fold. And the tip of your plane should come to a nice point.
All right, so
And we'll fold the wings back up.
does everyone have their first plane more or less? See a couple of them, fantastic. That's great. Okay, so we're going to do the same set of folds again, and we'll see this in the video. We're just going to start with the paper in landscape mode, or the long edge at the bottom. And so we'll start the same way by folding it in half and then folding those corners down. I'll start the video again, hopefully without going to the next slide. And we'll go through step by step, and then we'll be ready for our flight experiment.
And that is our airplane. Now we're going to do the same pattern of folds, but this time we're going to start with the paper in landscape mode, or with the long edge on the bottom and the shorter edge going up and down. We're going to start by folding the paper in half. Making the edge nice and neat. Open the paper back up and fold the top edges down to the middle. And we'll do the same fold on the other side. The top edge down to the middle. And then we will fold the diagonal edge down to the middle. This is the same series of folds we did for the other plane. We just started with the paper pointed in the other direction. To the other side. Get these folds nice and neat. Fold the plane in half and fold the top edge down to the bottom. And do the same on the other side. So now we've made 2 planes with the same fold pattern, and you can compare and see how they're the same and how they're different. And we'll also give them a fly to see how they go through the air.
All right. So anyone have any issues with folding those 2 paper airplanes? You want to hold them up so I can see your work? Okay, fantastic. Now there's a really cool thing here that you can do because we've made these the same. You can kind of put one, kind of nest it right in the other one. And it's a really good way to see how the planes are similar and how they're different. So which of your planes has a larger, has bigger wings? Which of your planes has bigger wings? It's not a trick question. Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Yeah, the first one that we did, right? And so what we're gonna do now is I'd like you to go fly some paper airplanes, but
yeah,
we're
they're
going
one
to
step
fly.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what we should be doing. But I want you to fly your paper airplanes like a scientist
Flies better.
and find out which one flies better. Yep. So everyone go fly your paper airplanes for 3 minutes and then come on back and we'll talk about what happened.
Oh, so if it doesn't go far, is it the fault of the plane or the person who made the plane?
There's
Asking
no
for a
fault.
friend.
There's only learning. There's only practice and learning. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna see if I can hit my camera.
I have to say, my large plane goes very far.
The
Completely
large plane?
And the smaller plane, not so much. It sort of goes and then it dives.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Some good observation, some good descriptions of what's happening.
I'm in the perfect place too. I'm in the playroom for the kids. So I'm like,
You know, I have a 4-year-old. This was totally unintentional. Well, not the son. The son was intentional. The child was intentional. But but I set up my office, and everyone's with kids is at home is trying to figure out like how do I keep kids busy while I'm doing stuff. So half of my office here is his like playroom, art supplies and blocks and books. And I find myself like in the middle of one of these sessions, I'll be like, oh, you know what? We'll show you this. Let me go get some blocks from over here, or let me go get some Play-Doh. It's kind of convenient to basically be in a kid's playroom as a museum, as a children's museum educator. So, what did we find out about our paper airplanes? Margaret, you said that you're one with the bigger wings flew.
this
flew
one, I
longer?
made it out of, I made my planes out of construction paper. And so this one, yeah, it's not out of lightweight paper, so it's construction paper. So this, if I'm sitting here at my desk and it would reach the other side of the room. This one was amazing. This one took off, but then it went, it sort of did a dive bomb. So maybe half the distance, and then it just,
And then
yep, and then it just took a dive. Yep.
Yeah. So what else? Who else would like to share the results of their flight experiments? Yeah, I'll call on the young gentleman there.
It's fast.
It went fast. Yeah. Did it fly straight or did it turn?
It did both.
It did both. Excellent. Excellent. What about the other plane that you made? The one that has kind of like little triangle tips on the back. How did that one do?
That flopped.
Flopped. Interesting. Interesting. Now, not everyone might have the same results here. So let's hear from some other folks. How did their planes fly?
So Brett, is this recorded? Because I'd love to replay this for my 5-year-old grandson.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll get to that though. You can get
all right
in-person facilitated learning.
Okay. Okay.
Good value. Good
Thanks.
value. So, what usually happens, and there's a lot of variables here that we can't control, but what usually happens is the plane with the bigger wings flies better. It stays in the air longer. It usually flies straighter because the thing that's keeping these planes in the air is the ability for air to push on the bottom part of the wings. You have a bigger airplane, you have more air pushing on the bottom part of the wing, and it stays up better. There's a lot of different factors that go into this, including, you know, how you throw it, how, you know, nice and neat you've made your folds. But one of the things that we always emphasize in these labs is that is to practice, to try again, to think about, to be a scientist, think about, make observations, think about what you saw, make adjustments, try to make improvements. And it's one of the great things about museum education, because there's all kinds of messages in there about resiliency and all of the good habits of mind, about self-improvement and having a growth mindset, which are things that we include in all of the labs that we do. We also have a really strong arts component. One of the things that is so fun to do is not just to make paper airplanes, but to decorate them. And as adults, you might, you know, think like, oh, well, why do I need to get my markers out and make my paper airplane? But the thing is that instills a sense of ownership, right? And so that it becomes your paper airplane, and you know, you can really practice until you get that paper airplane just right, and then you name it. You know, this is the Flying Tyler or whatever it is, and that becomes your special plane that you've learned so much about, and it helps you remember all the things that you've done to experiment and improve your design. So, you know, that's one of the great things. It's not just about adding some squiggles and adding some stripes and lightning marks or flame, you know, flame jobs or whatever. It's about instilling ownership, which is a really important thing, especially for the age group that these labs are designed for, which is that kind of first grade through fourth grade age range. And so, you know, the approach that we take with all these labs is it's not just about doing a hands-on activity. That's important. It makes it really fun. It makes it engaging, but it's about all the things that go in behind it. Thinking like a scientist, making observations, being an engineer, solving problems, learning, trying again, embracing art to build ownership. And it's, you know, this kind of holistic approach that we take to education that we think is not only fun, but important for kids to engage in. And so we offer these labs, like I said, for schools, for community groups, for in school, for after school, for individuals. We have times in the evening, on the weekends when, you know, individuals can sign up for these labs. All that information is on our website. My voice is going out here. I taught quite a bit today, so I'm getting near the end of my getting near the end of my spiel here. But the thing is I hope people had fun learning. That's what we try to do, and make it a really holistic approach. So
that's great, Brett. Thanks. You know, and like you said, these are available for groups, and they're in great. Lots of schools are starting to sign up, and they're available for individuals. We're also looking to have scout troops sign up, or any really group, whether they're organized in a learning pod or they're just a group of friends who have been socially safe together for a period of time and want to sign up, or they just sign up as individuals. So they're accessible a lot of different ways. All the information is on our website, and we do have a discount code for you today. So I believe it is partner 10. If you insert that, you'll get a 10% discount, and that is good through the end of 2020. So we would love it if you would share with people what these are about. They really are hands-on, minds-on, and school groups and schools are getting excited about them for a couple reasons. One, because they're great content that aligns with next generation science standards, but also because, you know, they're fun, and the kids are heavily engaged throughout this. You know, you've seen a kind of an abbreviation of it, but they're highly engaging, and it gives the teachers a break so that they can do planning that they used to have time to do. So any questions anybody has about what DCM is doing and what these labs are and other things that are going on in our world? Excellent. We must have answered everything. So,
May I ask a question?
sure.
Sorry, I seem to be mistalkative today. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But I was wondering, so have you been, this is more of a, have you been closed since March, or what have you done? Is it all virtual since March, or what have you done for the kids? Because I would think there's an awful lot of touching going on there at the DuPage Children's Museum. And so.
Not right now, there isn't.
No, I know.
Yeah, so we closed our doors on March 13th. And that's why we we took this pivot into the virtual land. I mean, again, all these programs are highly engaging, hands-on. We've also done some outdoor programs that are very safe in the parking lot where we've had lots of fun. And we have Bubble Bash in a Box coming up. So, you know, we've always done the traditional Bubble Bash, the countdown to New Year's Eve, countdown to noon on New Year's Eve day. We're now doing that in a box. And so you can purchase these boxes. It's really cool. I'm going to let Julie, maybe you can share a little bit about what these are. And if you want to, you can buy one for $15 to give to a family in need, because we are also working really hard to make sure that all families and children have access to our resources. And so today we've kind of been talking to you about some of the programming and how we're trying to get people, you know, to be aware of them and sign up your kids and grandkids. But we're also actively working to raise money so that we can ensure that these programs are available to kids in need. So we were working very closely with DuPage Pads, with Bridges, with Title I schools, and a number of other organizations, just to try to make sure that we're building access. Julie, you want to talk a little bit about Bubble Bash in the Box?
Sure. So in the chat, I dropped a link to the Bubble Bash page, and as well as a link to the story that the Naperville Community Television did over the weekend, which
So your sound is cutting out, Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brett, you want to, your sound's cutting out. Maybe if you turn your video off and talk to us.
video off.
Yep.
In addition to the activity supplies, there are a series of videos that kind of walk you through how to make those things, and as well as access to some virtual content of some performers who will lead you through song and dance and yoga and a very special countdown to the new year.
Thank you, Julie. Yes, yes, we did end up hearing that.
Okay.
Any other questions about any of our programming? So yes, Margaret, thank you for asking that. It has been a truly strange time. We very much look forward to the day where we can welcome people back in the building. Honestly, we made a commitment from the beginning that we will not open until we believe it's safe for our staff and our guests. But honestly, we have never been allowed to open under the state guidelines. Hands-on interactive exhibits are prohibited. And so museums that have have exhibits that are not interactive or hands-on manage to open up under some of the rules. Children's museums in general have not because of that rule. So, you know, whereas, you know, there might be a day when, well, there will be a day when we will be able to start having smaller groups gather. It's unlikely to be before the holidays, just because of the way the virus is surging at the moment.
How are you doing financially? I mean, I saw that you got a big grant through, I think it was Giving DuPage, maybe. I can't remember. But it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough for you. And it's
yeah, I'd be interested in hearing about that big grant. Sure. Yeah, we're okay. It's not easy. I mean, look, we're an organization that more than 60% of our revenue is based on in-person admissions and programming. So this has been no small task. And so our pivot was very real for two reasons. One, we absolutely believe in our vision and want to continue to have an impact. And two, having an impact is a means toward continuing to have an impact is a means towards continuing to be able to raise some money. But it's a difficult slug. But the good news is that we're strong. We started this as a very strong, financially healthy organization with an exceptional board who has been very active in their leadership throughout this period and ensuring that we can come through this in a sustainable fashion.
Good, because I was worried about it. I think it's such a big part of our community. As you open, maybe you can let us know if we can help in any way. Like we have a lot of members who want to get involved at some point. So,
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yep. Okay, so I think Julie's put some links, and we just published our annual report, which of course was an interesting one this year to do. So if you want to hop online and take a look at that, it's beautiful. In the positive news category, of which there is a lot, because every day that we're impacting kids with these programs, it's fun. But also our designer, Nancy Abbott, has won an award again for her fabulous design and creativity for her work on behalf of the museum. So the annual report is another great reflection of that creativity and her work and the team's work. So we've got a lot of exciting things upcoming, and including, and I'll say it here because there's lots of reasons to be optimistic, the questionnaires, which is a really who knows what the questionnaires is? All right, Brett does. Anybody knows the questionnaire series of books? All right, well, Jennifer, these are books that you need to give for those little kids in the background. Andrea Beatty is a local author. Questionnaires are New York Times best-selling books. Here's an example of one. Rosie Revere, engineer. And why am I?
I've heard of that. I have.
Right.
Yes.
So a whole series of cool characters. In fact, her little fellow classmate, Ada Twist Scientist, is going to be made into her very own Netflix series that the Obama production company is going to be producing and coming out on Netflix, I believe, next fall. And Sofia Valdez for Prez, Kim has. And the museum, DuPage Children's Museum, has the exclusive rights to build a traveling exhibit based on the questionnaires. And so we are working actively on that and hope to be premiering it when we reopen sometime in the new year.
Bravo.
Yeah, so that's super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that is about it, and I really appreciate everybody participating. I hope you had a little bit of fun, learned a little bit about the work that we're doing. We love, we're the front door of downtown Naperville as far as we're concerned. We're really excited and looking forward to coming back and seeing everybody. In the meantime, we are here. We're in a different space, but we're definitely active. So make sure to continue to connect with us and make sure everybody else knows about this great work that we're doing. So take care. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. It
everyone.
was fun. Make sure you
That was
use those
fun.
airplanes.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you guys. This is really great. Thanks so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye-bye.